Well, tonight we're bringing you two questions. Where is Dario Trejo-Burbano now, and what does his case reveal about a new federal strategy turning parts of the border into military-controlled zones?
I have no idea. I don't know where he is.
Attorney Robert J. Perez no longer knows where his client Dario Trejo-Burbano is. The Ecuadorian man is now one of the first people in El Paso to be convicted under a new federal strategy that treats part of the southern border as a military-controlled zone.
He was surprised. He said he didn't see any tanks. He didn't see any soldiers. He didn't see any signs.
According to court documents, in trial, a jury found him not guilty of violating national defense regulations. But Judge David Briones later convicted him of trespassing on military property, a ruling his attorney now plans to challenge.
And I'm going to file a motion with the judge asking that his ruling be consistent with what the jury decided. And the inconsistency there may be a little bit problematic because when you have a jury trial, the jury is they're the finder of fact. They, in essence, are the judges of the fact.
Perez says his client doesn't deny that he entered the country illegally, but what he is fighting is whether he entered military property.
He readily said, I entered the country illegally, and says, yes, send me back to my country. I did this. I was wrong in coming in the way I did. Deport me. But we don't know where he's going to be deported.
He says this federal strategy is making what used to be a simple procedure a lot more complicated.
Agents are having to come in, and they're going to have to come into these trials now. And instead of being out there doing their jobs, they're having to come into court and fighting what's turning into a political issue.
We asked the interim U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Texas, Justin Simmons, about the new enforcement mandates last week.
Is that the best use of your office's limited resources, I would imagine, to bring a misdemeanor charge before a 20-year-old defendant who had crossed the border and was accused of violating the NDA?
The best use of our time is to prosecute anyone who crosses into this country illegally.
But what happens next is unclear.
The big concern is what happens to the people who are found guilty of these offenses. Are they going to be deemed enemy combatants? Are they going to be deemed terrorists?
But he fears for his client.
I don't know if the government's going to try to make an example out of him and say, look, he's one of these people who violated this law and he's a security risk, and we're going to send him to Guantanamo Bay or El Salvador because we think he's a threat. I have no earthly idea. I'd hate to see that he's being used as a pawn for political purposes.
Well, Trejo-Burbano was sentenced to time served and a day. As of the last time I spoke with Perez, he still doesn't have any information on the location of his client or what his future holds.